Hey everyone, I'm Alex, and welcome to this complete beginner's guide for Curse of the Dead Gods. In this guide, I'll be going through a number of things to help you get started in this absolutely fantastic game, and we're going to be starting with the core mechanics that have been conveniently laid out for us here, and I'll be taking you through each one of them to help you understand what exactly you need to do. Now, the first core mechanic in this game is light and darkness. Basically, the way it works is at the bottom here, you have an indicator as to whether you're in the light or you're in the dark. If you're in the dark, you take extra damage. If you're in the light, you do not take extra damage, and there are some items like cursed weapons, which will give you additional damage while you're in the dark, and other items which will give you additional damage when you're in the light. Generally speaking, controlling the light is one of the more fundamental things that you're going to be doing in this game, and you're going to be doing so using like your torch to light torches, and you can even light opponents on fire, which really helps you to kind of illuminate the surroundings and prevent you from taking extra damage. And it's one of the reasons why I really recommend you focus on fire weapons early. Different elemental abilities do different elemental effects, and fire illuminates enemies, which provides you with light, which can help you to sustain and reduce the amount of damage that you take. So light and darkness and managing the two is one of the core concepts of this game. Now, dodging and stamina is very important. Dodging is essentially a complete, evasion of damage, which is super valuable, but it uses stamina points. And the way that you're able to kind of rejuvenate your stamina points is by basically doing perfect dodges, which basically allow you to dodge, in perfect timing with the enemy attack. And it actually, instead of costing a stamina point, it actually rejuvenates a stamina point. It takes some time to get used to it, and it is a definite, high skill cap move, but it is something that is worth doing. And dodging is something that you'll be doing quite a bit in this game. Parrying, however, is extremely challenging, and parrying is basically used to actually prevent all incoming damage and to actually create a weaken effect on the opposing creature. So you actually get to do additional damage if you parry an enemy's attack. It also rejuvenates 2 stamina points, which is very valuable. The problem with parrying is that it is very hard. Parrying requires incredible timing, and if you miss it, well, you're taking a whole lot of damage, as opposed to the roll, which is a little more predictable, we'll say. Parrying becomes easier with shields. If you have a shield, you have a larger window for your parry, and some shields even do automatic parrying, which is very beginner friendly as well, so keep an eye out for those, and we will discuss items shortly. It's also worth noting that corruption is a major mechanic in this game. When you move between rooms, you take 20 corruption. You can also sacrifice your blood in order to take items instead of paying gold or to buy relics and whatnot. And by doing that, you're increasing your corruption gauge. You have 5 levels of corruption. If you get to the 5th level, which is the final curse, you get a curse which basically makes beating the game near impossible. Each individual curse along the way can vary in difficulty and might even be buffs sometimes. Incidentally, they might increase the range of traps, but if you're built towards a trap build, well, then that actually helps you because you can kill more enemies with traps. But that is kind of few and far between. Generally speaking, you want to avoid corruption by getting items and relics that kind of can chew away at corruption with greed kills. Finally, you have the curse. Once again, we just talked about the curse. The curses, as you pass thresholds of corruption, which is 100 or 120 with a specific blessing, which we'll talk about later. The curses will have an impact on your ability to play the game by kind of adjusting the play experience by kind of creating a negative impact. Offerings are really interesting because, just like I mentioned before, you're going to be coming across multiple kind of shrines. Some shrines will offer you weapons, some will offer you relics, others will offer you, opportunities to build your attributes, which are going to give you Constitution, which is health. You're going to build Dexterity, which gives you damage, and it'll have Perception, which increases the opportunity for you to find items in the game world. You can either pay with gold or with corruption, or otherwise known as your blood. So that is what offerings are, and if you don't have enough gold, you can manage the expectations by using corruption, and if you have items that can really effectively manage corruption, perhaps it's even more valuable than spending your hard-earned gold. Greed kills, basically what greed kills do is allow you to chain and combo kills. By doing that, what you essentially do is you increase the amount of gold that you produce at any given run, which is fantastic because gold allows you to buy additional items and upgrade your weapons to stronger tiers, and also prevents you from taking on too much corruption at the shrines. Hitting enemies and basically perfect dodges and parries will refill the timer, but the major thing is you have to avoid damage, because if you take damage, you will reset your greed kill, which is unfortunate. There's even a blessing which will allow you to have infinite timer for greed kills that'll last between rooms and encounters, which is super valuable and one of the absolute best in the game. Moving on, we just spoke about attributes, but essentially attributes are one of the most valuable things you can do in this game. As a beginner, it is very, very, very important that you focus on building Constitution. Constitution will increase your maximum health and is significantly, I don't want to say it's more valuable than the others, but you really need to be building your Constitution. And you really need to be building towards giving yourself a sustained build, which allow you to kind of sustain your health through a longer run. The other things are great too. Perception, of course you want gold income and chance to find gear. And of course you want to increase your base weapon damage. But it's your constitution that really makes a difference in these runs, because the longer you survive, then the more skulls you collect and the more things that you can kind of use in order to benefit your overall progression. Okay, so attributes, very important. Now, blood pools are essentially where you go to a healing room and you basically give up some of your corruption, so 10 corruption for 20% of your maximum health cost. This is why why Constitution is so good, because these blood pools in the healing rooms are based on percentages. So the larger your percentage of, the larger your health is, the more each individual heal gives you and allows you to sustain longer runs. It is all percentage based, so bear that in mind. That's why Constitution is so valuable. Each piece of gear has 3 types of rarity, and then a 4th, which is the cursed type weapon. So this is, weapons and relics all have this. So you'll have your basic, your rare, and your very rare. Then your cursed has like a purple kind of outline in it. Cursed weapons and relics and things along those lines are going to be very strong, but they'll usually have a negative impact as well. Like every time you use it, you gain corruption, or you lose health or something along those lines. With each individual increase in rarity, you're not necessarily gaining like attack power, because you do, but you're also gaining kind of lines of statistics. So this one just might do core damage. This one here might do core damage, fire damage, and bonus damage from behind. And then this one here will apply a reduction in corruption for each enemy you get during a greed kill. So it kind of stacks effects on top of each other, which makes the individual weapons significantly more valuable. Critical damage is really useful, and we'll talk about the individual weapons in a second, because some weapons do critical damage in certain ways, like spears. If you hit them with the tip of the spear, you do critical damage. Claws often do critical damage from behind. So it's very different. One of the most common ways to do critical damage is to parry an attack. The person that you parry, or the enemy that you parry, will be vulnerable, and you'll be doing critical damage to that person. It's also worth noting that critical damage is one of the kind of primary things, the modifiers that are on many weapons, and one of the reasons why you want to get very rare weapons, because you can often do bonus critical damage. Relics will often give you bonus critical damage, so you can find yourself doing a whole lot of damage very quickly with critical damage. And again, weakened enemies are basically how you apply critical damage. If an enemy is weakened, you're going to be doing critical damage to that enemy. And again, they take 50% more damage, and critical strikes are kind of additive to that. Fire is super useful as well, because fire is going to basically be it's going to be additional damage over time, but most importantly for new players, it actually illuminates the area around you. So if you light, with your torch or with a weapon, if you light an enemy on fire, they'll actually act as a beacon of light, which, as we talked about earlier, if you're not in light, you take additional damage. So it's very helpful to use fire to your advantage, and that's why I recommend that if you're relatively new to the game, the blazing shield is the best shield in the game, because you can basically use it as a fire effect and protect yourself from taking too much damage while getting an increased parrying opportunity. And if you are on fire, you got to dodge, stop, drop, and roll, right, in order to get rid of those flames. Poison. Poison's really interesting. It's a little bit more of an advanced mechanic. As a relatively new player, I would suggest you avoid poison at the start, because yes, you get 50% additional damage over time, and you can stack that with burning, the burning effect. However, the problem is it doesn't do a lot of damage up front, and so you're gonna have to be dodging, rolling, and doing a lot more kind of along, like parrying and things along the edges in order to survive. Poison is one of those things that kind of racks up in damage later in the game, but if you're relatively new and you're going through the temples for the first time, I would stick with the fire as opposed to poison. But it is important to understand that burning characters will take additional poison damage as well. They stack together. Okay, lightning is really interesting as well. If you can't find fire, lightning is great because it applies like kind of like a stun effect, and you can do an AOE kind of shock to everyone around when you do weapon finishers, which are basically like 3-hit combos with either if you have a elementally charged lightning secondary, so you do like attack attack and then secondary, which will be a combo, or you can do attack 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 and it'll do a combo with your primary weapon, and it'll also hit enemies on fire. So again, the elements are very very useful because they stack together. Dark damage, often found on cursed weapons, will do a lot of damage to opposing heroes. The problem is that you also usually get there's usually a negative part to doing dark damage. If you have a dark weapon, there is something negative about it. You're either getting corrupted while you're using it, or you're taking damage or something along those lines. It's also worth noting that if you take dark damage from enemies, okay, and I mentioned this in my tips and tricks guide, but if you take dark damage, like every single temple has an enemy or multiple enemies that do dark damage. Avoid them at all costs, because if you take dark damage, you actually get like huge amounts of corruption. 10 to 20 corruption per hit, and that will add up so fast and destroy your run. So avoid taking dark damage whenever possible, because it is completely decimating. Okay, now you can get extra stamina, as we've discussed, by killing enemies. So if you kill an enemy, you get a stamina point. If you do a perfect dodge, you gain a stamina point. And if you effectively parry, you get 2. But again, that's very risky. The one thing I will mention is if you just like run away, stamina does recharge over time. And there's some items that'll even, some relics and items that'll even give you the opportunity to increase your stamina. And also like finishers won't use stamina when you do them, because you need stamina for like two-handed weapons. For secondary weapons, you need stamina to do like finishers. So if you do combos, you need a stamina, like a point of stamina to do those combos. Stamina is one of the most important things you need to manage throughout the game. Interrupting is actually super valuable as well. Interrupting and like shields and things like that can be very challenging. This is one of the more advanced concepts, but like shields, whips, two-handed weapons can often, like hammers and swords, can interrupt. So if an enemy is about to attack you and they flash, right, you can hit them with like your hammer, your two-handed hammer, and it'll actually interrupt their attack. Many bosses can also be interrupted as well. The offhand combo with pistol, so you do like XXY, so attack, attack, and then pistol will interrupt. Charged shields and whips will interrupt. Whips will actually pull them towards you, kind of like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and shields will charge and bash them. And two-handed weapons will do the same thing. So bear that in mind. Interrupting is super valuable, especially when you start to get used to the attack combinations and attack timings of the opposing heroes. Now, each individual weapon has a unique characteristic, so let's go through those quickly. We're almost there. So swords will do critical damage with combos, which is fantastic. So again, if you do XXX, you can do that's going to be a combo finisher. You can do XXY, which is going to be with like a dagger or something like that. But when swords are used to actually create the finisher, you're going to be doing combo damage. One-handed maces. So if you hold the attack button down, you're going to do a charged attack, and maces will do twice as much damage with a charged attack. They also do a bit of an AoE. They kind of do like a spin attack, which is super valuable if you're against many units. So if you are going with maces, it's important. I think you should be charging as your initiation. Charge your attack, hit everyone, and then you can hit your Y, and it'll actually count as a combo. So if you have a pistol, you can charge your mace, do a spin attack, and then use your pistol in order to do a combo, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Claws allows you to move through enemies when you hold down your charge, and it'll do critical damage often from behind, which is pretty neat. It allows you to move very rapidly on the battlefield, which is pretty useful. So thrown weapons are pretty interesting as well. Some of them will have modifiers, like the farther the opponent is away, the more damage it'll do. Combos will do critical damage with the thrown weapon, which is really valuable. So again, if you just kind of button mash a bit during your fight, you're going to be doing critical damage. And charged attacks will automatically target kind of in an AoE around you, which is very useful for taking out many units while kind of keeping a safe distance away. Whereas with like the maces, you have to like engage inward, whereas with the thrown weapons, you're kind of doing like a fan of knives around you, which will kind of keep you a little safer. Finally, you have pistols. Pistols will interrupt with a combo, so if someone's about to attack you and you're kind of hitting them, you hit your Y button and you activate your pistol, and it'll interrupt their attack, which is extremely valuable. Perfect shots are basically charged shots with your pistol. You hold down the Y button or the attack button. What will happen is you'll see these kind of lines kind of come inward and come together, and once they hit the perfect mark, which will glow white, you let go of the attack button and it'll give you a critical shot. Okay, so pistols, a little more high skill cap, but still very effective. Shields are very beginner friendly, and as I said before, the blazing shield is one of, like, it should be the first item you honestly unlock in the game. We'll talk about that shortly. But basically, you get an increased parry window, which is extremely valuable because you'll get accustomed to kind of like you know you're gonna get hit, and you just hit the parry button and hope that you just parry it, right? And shields will help you do that. And also there are shields which have automatic parrying effects as well. And you can interrupt with charge attacks, which are extremely valuable. Daggers, so again, the combos will interrupt, and if you attack from behind, you get critical damage. And any offhand combo, which again is like XXY, for instance, will automatically dodge enemy attacks. So daggers can be pretty damn good too. And also they have really good reach. So if like you're kind of distanced from an enemy and they're almost dead, you can use like your charged dagger combo. You hold the dagger button, which is Y, and you'll kind of burst forward. Well, Y on Xbox anyway, but whips are really interesting. So whip finishers will do critical damage. So if you hit like, you know, secondary, your third one will be a critical hit. And also if you hold it and charge it, you'll actually pull them towards you like Scorpion, which is super valuable. Two-handed weapons like swords and kind of hammers and stuff like that are really interesting. They interrupt all attacks, but you are a little vulnerable. You can actually hold them down for like this massive lunging attack, which is pretty interesting. The advantage of these two-handed weapons as well is they can break weak walls, so you can find like rooms, like hidden rooms for like gold stashes and chests and stuff like that. One thing I will mention is that the Titan Slayer, which I'll show you soon, is literally one of the best weapons in the game, especially if you're relatively new. It's one of the first ones you're going to want to unlock. It is basically a two-handed heavy weapon sword. It is truly remarkable. We're almost at the end here. Spears, again, spears do like an AoE spin attack. Some of them do like multiple spins, which is pretty interesting. They have a lot of cool effects. There's a poison spear as well. But at the end of the day, they do critical damage if you're hit with the tip of the spear. So positioning is really important. And also they have really far range. So it's like the middle ground between like a sword and a bow. You're able to hit from far away and actually keep yourself a little safer. It's a relatively beginner-friendly item. And finally, you have bows. I really like bows because what bows can allow you to do is you know, you can dodge immediately after a shot, which is pretty interesting, but also allows you to stay safe and at a distance. In my tips and trips guide, I basically showed how like you can easily take down and kite bosses with a bow. The fights take a little longer, but like you're literally at range, very safe, taking down champions and bosses. Okay, so anyways, that's the quick breakdown of the core mechanics. Let's talk about the first items you need to unlock. Alright, so let's talk about the Underworld now. So what you'll notice right off the bat is that you have a number of altars. These altars basically give you opportunities to pick combinations of weapons in order to get started when you run into the actual temples. You'll notice that there are two broken. You can unlock them with crystal skulls later on. Let's talk about this little area here. Now, what I've started with is the blessing of an increased illumination. But basically what this is, blessings are passive abilities that you can use to design builds in Curse of the Dead Gods. Basically the way blessings work is you use combinations of them together in order to create kind of builds, so to speak, that can allow you to kind of improve your opportunities to play. Now what you'll notice here, and this is a new account, so I can show you what it looks like for your first time. You'll notice that a bunch of them are locked behind these bloodstones. The way you unlock these bloodstones is by beating tiers of the actual temples. So the introduction of each individual temple is like one stage with just a champion at the end. If you beat it, you get one stone, and you're going to unlock an additional slot here and additional options for your abilities. The best one is Reptilian Hunger. Reptilian Hunger is really what you want to work towards. It takes 5 blood gems, and it also takes 250 skulls. As of recording anyway, that might change. But anyways, what it does is it allows you to have infinite greed kill timers, and allows you to increase the amount of damage you're doing with those greed kills, which basically allows you to basically just lay waste to everybody around you. But that's what you want to save for, so you want to get to 5, and you want to save your skulls for this here. It is the best one. However, if you are brand new to the game, there's two that I generally do recommend. I do recommend the protection, which basically allows fire to illuminate further and reduces the amount of damage you take in light. It basically just allows you to survive a little longer, which is beneficial when you're learning the game. Once you get a little more comfortable, as I recommended in my tips and tricks guide video, I do really recommend Clever Kills. The additional 100% damage on traps, because traps will hit enemies and they completely destroy enemies, and you can even get relics that heal you based on the amount of damage that traps do to enemies. So it is fantastic. Like, you can basically fully heal with traps if you find yourself in a tough spot and you get yourself a good relic. And we'll talk more about relics momentarily as well. But one thing I want you to understand, though, is you unlock additional slots as you progress through the game and beat more temples. Now, With regards to weapons, now just doing the tutorial, you'll end up with 10 kind of jade rings here, which can be used to unlock weapons. At first, you know, and these are cursed weapons you get by beating those bosses. But at first, you're like, wow, there's so many options. What do I do? I'll tell you what you do. You go right here and you unlock this absolute beauty blazing shield. The blazing shield is by far one of the best items in the game. It gives you an immediate impact because it increases your parry opportunities. It does fire attack damage. It stuns and interrupts enemies. It is by far the best starting item in the game. With your five, you know, jade rings, there's nothing else better. Now, there's other recommendations I can make as well. What I would do is, honestly, I'd probably save my jade rings and end up buying a Titan Slayer. Alternatively, if you don't want to go with the blazing shield, which I really do recommend, you can use your 10 on the Titan Slayer. It is so fantastic. It is basically an initial weapon you can use to basically just kill bosses and champions and elites, which is super valuable, but it takes 10. You know, if you're looking for another good pickup for the you know, your first kind of 5, I do really recommend, where is it here? It is, oh, sorry, it takes 10 jade rings. So no, I am correct. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to buy the blazing shield first with your 5. You're going to have 5 left over. I would save them because the Spark Hammer is a really good mace. It basically does lightning attacks and kind of like stuns and does AoE damage, which is really fantastic. And again, the Titan Slayer is honestly the best. So you have a secondary weapon unlocked, you have a heavy weapon unlocked, and then you'll have a main weapon unlocked as well. If you really want, you can take the Spark Hammer or the Titan Slayer first. One thing I wouldn't recommend, I see a lot of like I've been kind of watching like Twitch and stuff, players jumping in for the first time, and people are unlocking this dual hammer. It's garbage. Like it provides passive illumination that sounds good, but it's a waste of your jade rings early because this is basically passive illumination. You get your blazing shield, you interrupt, and they light on fire. So there's really no reason to go with that other hammer. I think that it's not nearly as good as the blazing shield, but anyways, you know, you can do whatever you wish at the end of the day. Again, you're going to be using jade rings to unlock the weapons over time, and you get the jade rings by beating individual bosses. Jade rings will not fall off regular enemies. Skulls will fall off enemies and elites and bosses, but champions and bosses will drop the jade rings and jade rings only. Okay. The weapon altars, of course, restoring additional altars is blocked behind additional gems, so you have to kind of make progression to do that. But basically what you can do is you can pay skulls and basically improve the opportunity to get better weapons. So for instance, you know, common weapons will be weapons that have like, you know, a line of additional text that might do additional damage from behind or additional damage to, you know, elites or something along that line. And then you can go from rare, very rare, and basically improve the quality of the weapons that you're getting. Divine Favors, what Divine Favors basically do is they allow you to like re-roll your weapon shrines and like your treasure shrines and relic shrines that you find throughout your runs, and they're super valuable because especially once you start designing builds, like for instance, we know that we are building like a blazing shield. That means that when we find relics, we want to stack those relics with fire damage. Relics will drop like fire damage. They'll have like plus 30 to fire damage. You want those types of relics, and later in the game, you're going to want to use your Divine Favors. Like if you get a bunch of relics that do not give you fire damage, but you've built fire, you can re-roll them to hopefully get fire damage, okay? And that's how Divine Relics work. But overall, as I said, just a quick recap here, I do recommend going, you know, Protection. I do recommend as your first item, you taking Blazing Shield, Titan Slayer, and where is it there? Spark Hammer is another good option as well. And then you can basically just start doing runs. And at the end of the day, what you're going to start doing here is you're going to start unlocking skulls and unlocking upgrades, and that's exactly what you want. And this is basically how it works here. So you have events that are unlocked every day. I will get a new one in the next day here, but basically this will allow you to kind of like do like a unique try event. You get one shot, you get basically 10 skulls for finishing it and 2 skulls for each individual room, and enemies drop more skulls than usual. And then you have each individual room here. So you have the Blood Hunter hunts, which is one type of temple. You have the Storm Throne, which is another type of temple. And then you have this is the Bewitched Catacombs, which is going to be like poison centric. This one I find to be the easiest. This one I find to be the hardest. But it's up to you at the end of the day. Each individual one will have unique enemies, unique traps that you got to get used to. I recommend that you start on the poison side because I feel like its enemies are a little more predictable. The corruption enemies, they basically make rings of corruption and they're a little easier to dodge. So I do recommend you start here, and what you're going to want to do is like try and beat this one, and then try and beat this one too, and try to make progression as far as you can in one set of temples. And then once you get to about here, you're gonna hit a deadlock because you need to unlock more stuff, and then you go to another one and focus. Do one at a time so that you can learn the fundamentals of each of the opponents and the attack patterns of the champions and the bosses. All right, so now that we got the boring stuff out of the way, let's do a quick run. So we got a rare item right there, a rare sword, which is not bad. We have a fire attack incandescent claws, and we have hunting axes that inflict poison damage. What I think I'm going to do here is I think I'm actually going to take this here. It gives us an opportunity to do some poison, so we'll see what we can work with here. It's not the best start, but what I'll show you here is now that I know we're starting with poison, you know, I have traps picked out because I told you I like doing the traps. We got reptilian hunger. I'm actually going to get rid of this here, and we will take the opportunity to get us some additional gold and perception at the start of the run. We got some stuff unlocked, which is okay. We got a few favors. Let's actually get going here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pick the introduction to the poison temple. I'm calling them temples. What are they? I guess they're temples. Let's take a pick here. I'm gonna take this middle ground here. The reason why is because we're gonna get some gold. We get a nice relic, see what we can combo with. Or do I take the? You know what? Let's go weapon first, because then we can match the weapon to the relic. Because I'm not convinced we want this weapon long term. It's not bad. It's a decent one, but it's not my favorite. It's not one of the absolute beauties that I love. So off to the races here as we get started. I'm going to be explaining absolutely everything there. Total new play taking unnecessary damage, but what are you going to do? So I'm doing my charged attacks to hit, because I know I'm doing AoE damage. Trying to save some stamina for the, what's it called? For the rolls. So there's the corruption you got to avoid. Always make sure to avoid the corruption there. It's these guys that do it. Once they take enough damage, they go into a little ball here, they become invincible, and they spawn these little grubs. Stay away from that corruption. Knock the guy into his master and cause some poison damage. Another monster coming. This is a bigger one here. This is a really tough opening little run here. Now, because there's no more flame things, I'm actually lighting the monster on fire if I can. Now, he is illuminating a little bit. Okay, got a dodge. So again, light someone on fire, give me some illumination there. Because see how I'm in the dark? I'm going to take extra damage if I get hit. So I want to avoid getting hit, and I just got hit, and I took a ton of extra damage because of it. So this is the problem. The big monsters with their huge attacks, they broke the little lanterns there. So we're going to take a quick look around to see if you know, there's any hidden rooms or if there's anything that we could use. Oh, poison there. Not interested in the poison. Okay, let's go. So we got ourselves a shrine. So what we got is, ooh, a poison attack serpent blade. And it's the rare one, so we get additional points of damage per perception, which we started with. Extra damage against elites, champions, and bosses, super valuable. And bonus damage if we have a sword as a main weapon. We do. We don't have enough gold here, but I am willing to sacrifice blood in order to take this secondary weapon, which I think is actually really good. So it looks like we're doing a poison run, which ironically I recommended you guys not do to start, but hey, what we're going to do? We'll do it. Okay, so now that we have a weapon we know we're pretty good with, and it synchronizes with our sword, we are going to go over here to the relic. We are getting immediately corrupted because we used our blood to take the rare weapon. Now, one thing I would recommend is always kind of so basically little bats are going to spawn when they die. I went through too fast. Sorry, if you want to rewind and pause on the screen. It's habit of clicking through it. I do apologize. So anyways, so basically what I want to do here is I'm going to run with this weapon. So I'm going to upgrade this weapon however I can. I'm going to build around it. It's always good to build around one weapon. You don't need multiple weapons to be good. I just need a sword in this hand, which I have, and I need this one to do as much damage as possible. And because it does work against elites and bosses, that is really going to help me here. So I'm going to light a couple lanterns here. I'm actually going to open with this. There's a nice poison attack. He's basically dead. And he's going to die as well, so I don't have to really worry about him. I've got the greed kills going as well. I don't want to take any damage if I can avoid it. There we go. Quick room, what do we got here? So damage to lightning attacks will take the corruption. So we are building completely towards poison here. I am not interested in anything else. So we checked for... we're not using our bow as well because the bow's useless. We have a much better item right now, so we're going to just take a quick scope of what we have. And we have no traps right now, ironically. So, dodge. So she's dead. Get out of that thing. He's dead. There you go. He's dead as well. Oh, I just got hit. Get out of that corruption. There we go. Man, game is hard, I gotta tell you. The game is very tricky. So I don't think we have... Even if there's a secret room, I can't break it with the weapons I have right now, unfortunately. So we're gonna light this. Jump on her, hit her for a lot of damage. Nice, she's done. Get out of his thing. She's done as well. Oh no! See, I made a new mistake! So when I'm poisoned, you regenerate stamina much slower. And it almost cost me a whole bunch of corruption there, which would have been pretty rough. So that guy blew up the pillar, the light pillar, which is a-okay. So right now what we're trying to do here, again, we're focusing on this blade, and we're going to see, right now our curse does not really impact us that much. Let's see what we get here. Okay, so healing effects and constitution. As I mentioned before, we want to build constitution if we can. Healing through door is fantastic, and less corruption through doors. What we're going to do is we're going to take this one, we're going to take the gold, we're going to pay the gold for it. Let's double check here. Yes, we can pay the gold for it. We might actually roll. I'm looking for maybe poison. This is good. This is good. You know what? Let's roll for poison. Let's see what we can do. That is actually pretty damn good. Straight up constitution. Let's roll again. Fire attacks. It looks like we're not going to get poison here. One more. One more. Come on. What do we got? So base damage based on gold. Perception 1 on main weapon. Not what we want. So what we're going to do is, now that we've completely wasted all of our stuff, we'll take the additional perception. No, we don't really... Do we take perception? Yeah, we will. We'll take it. It's cheap. We'll take it. The original offering might have been a little better, but that's the thing, right? You use your favors as a roll here, so we're going to take the gold. We'll go towards the attributes. Attributes are so important. Again, we want to build constitution if we can. I got greedy. I wanted to illustrate to you guys how we can build towards poison, and I got punished for it. Okay, she's dead. Oh, good parry there. That's the one thing that's nice about using a dagger, is the parry will act as a cancel for the dagger. Okay, we should be able to take this guy down. There it goes. It's been a while since I've actually done a dagger run. Okay, let's illuminate a little bit. We'll go this way. Moving a little fast. That's a trap. That's a trap as well. It's a trap. Okay. We're going. All right, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Let me see. So we got some... let's watch this. We can bait them into the trap here. They didn't come. They didn't come. Hey, come on. Oh! You killed them! How dare you? That was rude. I was going to use that trap. I haven't got any luck with the runes I usually use. Well, that's what these games do, though, man. They punish you sometimes. Let's see... Offer the gods. We have no desire running shields right now. We're not going to replace this secondary weapon. This is the weapon of the run. Oh! I was assuming that guy was going to die. Mistakes were made. It's okay. Trying to get fancy, getting punished. So we got tons of percent. It's funny. I'm like, hey guys, build constitution and do not run poison. And make sure you get all your stuff to kind of synergize. Here's my example run. I'm running poison with no constitution and nothing with any synergy. So I take this. Damn it. Yeah, sometimes the game punishes you. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to break down on me, are you? There's multiple paths here, but sometimes like they kind of all lead to the same place anyway. Okay, they're dead. Oh no, had to parry that. Another parry, so again I can attack him. Oh, I got stuck. You can attack cancel, which is really beneficial, of course. So we got this. Base damage for 1,000 gold. I'll actually take it, just in case we don't end up getting anything else going for us. We're moving on to the next room. We got ourselves our gold. We will take the middle path, because it keeps everything open for us. Exactly what we want. I love this, because this is like, as bad of a demonstration this is, because I'm not doing anything that I told you to. It's also a perfect demonstration, because it shows you that like these types of games, these roguelikes, for if anybody that might be new to a roguelike, each individual run is completely unique. So like you cannot bank on like it going your way every time, right? You kind of got to roll with the punches a little bit, and a little bit of extra RNG will definitely help. Watch, I'm gonna hit this thing here, a little poison shot, nice, right? I'm doing a ton of damage with those things. Look at that. So finally, I'm using, and those things are money. Like if you have like the relics that basically heal you for damage being done by traps, like that's basically full health right there. That's me just getting full health for literally no reason, and it just clears the room. There's a few in each temple that are like that like are absolutely incredible for clearing large areas. And I'm going to be posting a lot of several, I'm not going to say a lot, but several gameplay runs and stuff like that from my streams, so definitely keep an eye out for those, and like you'll see more variation in individual runs. Ooh, a shield. There's no way we take that shield though, even if it's the blazing shield. If it's the blazing shield, I'm actually beside. It's not the blazing shield, but anyways, we're gonna offer it to the gods because it's not part of our build. Nothing over there, that's fine. I almost wish that he ran just ever so slightly faster. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we want. We want treasure find and we want max health. We offer the gold, we take it. Now, because we have the perception-based damage here, so getting a lot of perception, which is at 20, is basically increasing our damage on our... our damage on our Serpent Blade is increasing by 20% because of the perception, which is fantastic. So you have this being increased by 4, this by 6, and then all the extra attributes we've gotten as well. So what we're going to do, we could... you know what? I'm not searching for a weapon here. We'll go for another relic. We know what we want. We want poison relics. Unfortunately, we used all our divine favors, so we will not be able to roll for it. So we got to hope for Lady Luck to help us out a little bit. Let's see what we can do here. Got some gold. I'll take that gold. Thank you very much. Dodge Rooney. What's over here? A secondary path. Oh, I missed it again? Why am I playing so bad? Get over here. That's an example. Oh! Taking extra damage because of the traps. And the darkness. Another blade, is it? All these extra vermin being spawned is annoying. So it's a serpent blade. Okay, so this is a great example. So this is a regular serpent blade, but the one I have is a very rare. So of course I'm keeping the one I have. Okay, absolutely. Okay, Jaguar Mask, damage taken in gold. We'll take it, even though that's not very exciting. Let's move on. Come on, poison relic or trap relics. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, used up all my stamina. Bad choice, bad choice. Bad choices being made here, folks. Excellent choice being made there. And you're dead. Hi. You're gonna die. See ya. Alright. So here we go. Come on, relics. Give me some luck. Really, it's really sad. It is. It makes me sad, but you know what? Let me take a look here. There's another relic just passed. We're actually going to save our money. We're not even going to offer blood. You know what? I'll offer blood. No, I won't. I won't. We don't need it. We don't need it. We're not going to offer anything. We skip it. We go towards the weapon upgrade, because that's going to allow us to upgrade our Serpent Dagger. We'll spend all our money towards our weapon upgrade. The second upgrade, we'll spend blood, and then we'll be at our boss. Okay? Okay, like that. Whoa, greed kills. What's up? Oh no. So much damage. Oh, I got hit. Regenerating very slowly. Perfect dodge, perfect dodge. I'm poisoned! It's all these damn vermin. There we go. Alright. Whip for lightning attacks, absolutely not offer to the gods. We know what our plan is. We're after a set build here, and we're going to upgrade this. We're going to offer the gold, where we're going to increase its damage. Fantastic. So it's just going to hit that much harder. Perfect. We're going to go to another weapon room now. and it's going to increase our damage even further. Again, we know what we want to do. We have a specific strategy. We build up one weapon, we build towards one build, we maximize all the potential in the one weapon. Okay. Little fire shots there. Again, using those traps is so clutch. Oh, my blazing shield! I love it so much. Not today, my friend, not today. Oh, poisoned. Now, this is actually going to be a relatively straightforward run because of the amount of damage we're doing with our... Again, we can just do this. Our dagger is completely out of control right now. Ooh, got greedy there. Whoa! A little slow on the parry. It's funny, I've been playing this game for so many hours, and I still suck at parrying. It is so challenging. It is so challenging. Alright, so here we go. Again, so I don't have the money, but I want to upgrade it because I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm offering my blood. I'm going to get corrupted, which is okay. Because right now, like, over time, you're going to fear the corruption less and less. Some of them are worse than others, but at the end of the day, the problem is we're going to get a third corruption here for the boss, which could suck. But sometimes they're not all that punishing. So spiked mushrooms automatically trigger, so I don't have to hit them. That's not a big deal. Like, in fact, like, that's not that big a deal because, like, we have trap bonus damage. So if the traps automatically activate when we just run nearby, because, like, the spike traps usually have to get actually oh no, gotta avoid that corruption. That's 20 corruption if he hits us. Way too much to take. The extra ads have been annoying too. So much poison. Alright, this is a poison thing. We know because it's glowing eyes. We'll go this way here. I hope this is helping, by the way. I'm trying to talk through it, every decision I'm making. Honestly, it's a really good game. It is a fantastic game, and I think that you'll have a ton of fun with it. Oh! Again, attack cancel. Check. Yes, baby! That is exactly what we wanted. That's exactly what we wanted. We're going to take it, so now we're going to even amplify our poison damage even further, and that is exactly what we wanted to do. So this guy is so done. We don't even have to do much with him. Oh. Okay, treasure find. We don't really need treasure find or... So, we do, actually. I'm wrong because... So, let me be clear about this. When I purchase this here, I'm purchasing perception and I'm purchasing dexterity. And although it looks like I'm just gaining 10% and 25% magic find, if you look at the bottom where it actually shows my constitution, dexterity, and perception, which is 5, 0, and 20, when I buy this, they actually go up. So I'm actually buying dexterity, which is, see, I bought 5, which is going to increase the amount of damage that my dagger does, because my dagger is a dagger that is scaled based on the perception. Torch of Sorrow, so my torch is going to be dark. So now I no longer can use light with the torch, but I take no extra damage in darkness. So there's actually, like, cursed weapons would be super good with this because I no longer take extra damage in darkness, and I'll be doing extra damage in darkness. But let me just explain again. So the reason why this weapon was so good, so it does poison attacks, which is fine. Main weapon's a sword, I have that. Perception, 1% extra damage per perception I have, so it's doing 25% extra damage because I have a lot of perception, and it's going to do 30% extra damage against elites, champions, and bosses. Because of that, like, I'm going to be able to melt this boss down, right? It's going to be relatively straightforward, all because we have a very straightforward build. We built towards one primary weapon. Okay, so I'm dodging, getting my stuff up. Because it's a secondary weapon, I have to use, I have to use stamina to attack. But look, it's taking damage. It's taking damage even while I'm not around it. Okay, stay far away. So again, over time, you start to learn the patterns of the boss. Now I'm going to take damage here because I'm too close and I ran out of stamina. See? Got punished. Kill it. Boom. Very straightforward win, guys. Anyways, and now we take our jade rings here. We take our skulls and we head back to the sanctuary where we can then put those to work in unlocks. Anyways, guys, I hope that this guide helped you. I did my best to walk you through everything that you needed to know to be successful in this game. Please have fun, enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and a very special thank you to all of our wonderful subscribers. We will see you in the next video.